Have you ever wanted to be a beautiful, majestic forest nymph, but you're stuck on a really tight budget? Well, you've come to the right place. Let me show you how to make these crazy wings for about $60, which I get isn't the cheapest, but costume wings like this can go from like $100 to $300 really, really fast. So this is my little video on how to save you a little bit of money, and you'll make your own unique design that nobody else will ever have. So you're going to want to decide on the size of your wings, and obviously pick paper that's going to be able to hold your template. So I have this sketch pad that is 18 by 24. You could go and just buy a like one of those cheap cardstock pieces of paper that you can get that at any, like at Walmart for 99 cents. So that would be big enough to probably hold your template. So this sketchbook was like 25 bucks, but I use it as like a regular sketchbook for other drawings, so I'm not counting this towards the total cost. So I'm gonna put all the things that I bought in the description, but I would personally just go buy a sturdy cardstock piece of paper from Walmart or somewhere to draw your design out. So, and you do not need to make your design as big as mine. I wanted really dramatic wings. I wanted to be crazy, and I'm modeling them off of cicada wings. I'm making them a little bit different. I want the pattern to be not as perfect and not as precise because I am lazy. So I'm gonna factor that in and make these wings a little bit less perfect. So once I have all the lines where I want them, I go ahead and fill the veins. Something that's I think really important is that the veins are not all the same across. Like as they join, the little joints where the veins meet up, it's a little bit thicker here and there, and then the top of the wing, the arch that goes all the way across to the end, is thicker too. So that's what keeps the whole wing together, and that is where you're going to put your metal on the very end. So make that part a little bit thicker so we can hide the wires a little bit better. And then grab your plastic. So make sure that there's not a protective layer on your plastic. You want to take that off before you start to draw on it. And as you can see, I'm tracing the design that I already did onto the plastic. So first I do the outlines, and that takes forever. And then once I have all the outlines and I think that it all looks good and matches up, I go ahead and fill everything in. I know it's really hard to see because the table is also glass, so it is just see-through all the way. But yeah, if you mess up a little bit, don't freak out. I am using a Sharpie, but if you catch it quick enough, you can kind of just wipe it off. And it is plastic, so believe it or not, you can actually wipe off a lot from the plastic while it's still unfinished. But just take your time. Don't worry. Wings are not perfect in nature either. So if the lines seem a little bit wobbly, don't worry about it, especially because we're going to put more stuff over the top and you can redefine the lines later. So once you have that, you go ahead and do the other side. So all you have to do, because everything is see-through, you just flip it to the other side. I decided to pin them together with like little chip clips. And yeah, so I had both of them done, and then I went and picked out some paint. I really like Dragonfly Glaze because it's like this pretty iridescent shimmer. And then I also bought, it's from Folk Art, it's like this translucent blue, which I will also put in the description. I wanted my wings to be really flashy, kind of like if you know what the stone labradorite looks like. I wanted it to have these like insane, like opalescent, crazy flashes as they hit the light. But in order to do that, you kind of have to build up the layers. So I started with this blue, and I just threw that blue all the way around, and it's a shift, so it shifts from blue to violet, which is pretty cool. So every layer of these wings is gonna like shift colors, which is what I want. But they have all sorts of different colors. You honestly pick whatever you want. Don't feel like you have to do a certain color. If you want to shade in the corners more, if you want more dimension, go for it. Or if you want them to look more like natural bug wings, you know, just reference the picture and do whatever you want. I wanted these to be crazy, enchanted, ridiculous fairy tale wings because I was feeling it. I was feeling extra. And yeah, I kind of am painting, I don't know how to explain it because there's no grain to the wings, but I'm kind of going with the grain of the wings so it looks like it kind of, you just want it to look like it makes sense. I wouldn't like paint like just left to right, left to, like, I don't, does that make sense? I'm kind of, while I'm painting inside each of the little sections, I'm kind of painting up to down, sort of like, think of feathers. It's kind of like feathers, actually. I just want it to all be going the same direction. And if you look at bug scales, I wouldn't say with cicadas, but I know with butterflies, they actually do kind of have scales on their wings, so there is sort of a direction or pattern to the way that their scales go. So I'd imagine if they had gigantic wings, there would kind of be like a directionality to the scales or the paint strokes. And because these aren't real, you know, these could be weird butterfly cicada wings, it doesn't matter. And yeah, so I have them both done here. And then I went ahead and threw some Mod Podge on. You could probably use even clear Elmer's glue for this step. But I just went ahead and put that all over the wings, let them get a little bit tacky. And here comes the kind of crazy part, is we're going to put the cellophane down, and you want to push as many air bubbles out as you possibly can. And it takes a lot of effort, and I'm sure there's a better way to do this. I think if I would have cut the cellophane down a little bit thinner and pulled it taut right from the beginning, that would have been easier. I kind of just plopped the cellophane down and like tried my best. But yeah, I think I did okay, all things considered. So I went ahead and I pushed as many air bubbles out, gave it a little bit of time to dry, and then I put more Mod Podge on top. And with the Mod Podge on top, I pushed as many air bubbles out as I possibly could with my paintbrush. It made it a little bit easier because then the air bubbles, like, they couldn't move as much with the glue on top. It like weighs down the rest of the paper. I hope that makes sense. So it was easier to push them out from the sides. And the same thing with the blue paint. I'm kind of going in like the same direction as each little section, so they kind of go to the left and down. So I want in each section I'm painting to the left and down, to the left and down, to the left and down. And I let the Mod Podge get tacky, and then I let it dry before putting on any other layers. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It takes a while for this stuff to dry, but I hope you can kind of see that like really flashy, crazy look that I was going for. Once all of that dries, you're going to want to re-outline your veins. I'm only doing the cellophane on one side because I actually like the way it looks on the other side too. And I just want to be able to reference that for a future project. So if I make the wings again, I want to be able to know what they look like on both sides. Because I honestly think they'd even be pretty. I like them on both sides, so I wanted the best of both worlds. And here they are finished, and then I went and did the bottom wings, so that's the same process all over again, and it's tedious. Mine look a little bit different because, again, they're like a weird cicada wing. You might need help during the cellophane step.
Yellow and green and pink. And
yeah. I don't want to waste any of this stuff because it was kind of expensive. Sorry, I'm poking you. I'm trying to get it to be flat. Nope. Okay, well, anyway. And then after the cellophane, I threw glitter on. You can use whatever glitter you want. I, in hindsight, would probably use something with like finer glitter. It looked really pretty in the jar. I don't know if I like how like chunky it is, I guess. But it's what I got. I spent it, so I figured I would just use it because it was expensive. It was like $5, so I could have taken it back, but I didn't because I was lazy. So I threw glitter on, and then I cleaned up the edges, and I put some flowers on, and I assembled these suckers. So when I went to the Ren Fair, I actually just wore the top wings. I didn't have time to put the top and the bottom together. So this is, as you see it, is what I wore. But I'm going to show you the finished product at the end. I liked them as they were with just the top wings. I thought they were really pretty. But how I wanted them was to be like this double layer pattern, like real cicada wings. So what I did is I had 12 gauge wire. I wrapped yarn around it, 2 strands of 12 gauge wire. The thickness of the wire depends on how high you want them to sit, because I want them to sit lower. I don't mind that they hang down a little bit more. If you wanted these to be like totally like horizontally out, you'd want a thicker wire so you could really like stand them up. Like think of like an armature or something that you would use for clay. Like that's how thick the wire needs to be to get them to stay up. They need to be able to, you know, you get it. Anyway, so I'm using E600 glue. I would not recommend hot glue, or even super glue is kind of a hit or miss, because I used it once and it kind of dissolved the cellophane. So if you polyurethane or put a really protective sealant on first, maybe super glue or tacky glue will work. I would just use E600 because it's indestructible. That is, like, I think the crux of what makes this a really tough costume design is that I'm using E600 glue and I'm coating these things in this stuff. Because I'm using ribbon and yarn around the wire, it gives it sticks on there, or it's not gonna come undone. And then I'm using these little clamps to kind of clamp it down as it cures. It's gonna take 24 hours to be mostly done curing, but 72 hours for like a full cure. And yeah, I hope that kind of makes sense. The U part goes into your corset. So just keep adding glue and clamping it down as you see fit. And once the glue is mostly dry, in like 20 minutes, it will be dry to the touch. It does not mean that it's like fully cured, so don't get tricked. But after it was like mostly dry, I just went ahead and painted the little wrapped wires black to blend in with the veins, and yeah. And here they are. You can adjust them, you can move them around. Here I was kind of trying to find a good spot to take pictures. It was super windy too. But yeah, I think they look super cool. They look dramatic and fun, and they hang down nicely, because at the Ren Fair, you're gonna run into people. You really don't want these to be 100% horizontal, because you're gonna kill someone with your wings. It was also super windy as I was recording like these little B-roll shots, so they didn't really get beat up at all in the wind, in the jungle. And yeah, these are so sick. You need to make a pair. I'm not joking. Like right now, today, make some fairy wings. You can't even hear me. But these are not gonna go anywhere. These are firmly stuck in. They're not leaving. We're like flight testing them today. Jesus Christ. And then I got some cool pictures too. These are obviously really fun for just photos. You can take all sorts of cool pictures and edit like the grain to make them look more realistic if you want. You can make these for kids. They're indestructible. You can make one for your pet. I don't care, but they are not gonna break. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you make some wings.